All right, and welcome and thank everyone for tuning in to We Need to Talk. Today's guest is Miss Janie, and we don't need to go into last names. We'll stay somewhat incognito because we are being completely censored and shadow banned everywhere we go. So, without further ado, though, I want to introduce you to Miss Janie. I've known her for several years now. She has been someone who has been just so consistent. I got to say, Miss Janie, you're one of the people in my world that have been consistent in who you are. You're not fake. You don't try to be something you're not, and you speak your mind. And we need to see more of that within the citizens and everything of the Americas, all over the place. Really, speak your mind, but that
Yes,
doesn't. You have free speech, but you don't have the free to commit violence or crimes against anyone because of that. And that's where we're getting to. And I think that a lot of it needs to, bring back. We need to bring science and spirituality together because again
it,
we're
yeah,
yeah, they go hand in hand. I mean, you can't have one without the other because the science brings the proof of, and the spirituality brings the gifts and the intuition and everything that science is proving. Every time we wake up, it's like, oh, I got proved right again. Thank you.
exactly right.
So
That's
let's.
exactly,
You didn't mean to cut you off, but tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do, who you do. What I'm not who you do.
I don't do anybody anymore.
Well, that's another conversation, a topic that we
Yeah.
will certainly get into one day. But I'm sorry. But gotta laugh. Gotta
Just
laugh.
an ordinary person. I'm a grandmother. I'm not married. For some reason, that could never work out for me. And I really have come to the conclusion that I have changed so much in my life because I have always been me, and I have never let that change ever. So if you're that kind of person and you're continually growing and seeing more and more, you have to have a partner that's like that also, and that is very hard to find.
Yeah.
And I don't look for anybody, but of course I never had, and that could be another part of my problem. But
I don't know. I don't think that's a true statement though, because we all start out in that programming that we're supposed to look for who we're supposed to be with, what we're supposed to, I mean, we're not, again, we're programmed so much. And I think that the reason, a lot of us, because I'm the same way, I've been married 3 times, and it's just, and one was almost 20 years, but still, it don't matter because that was 20 years ago.
right, right.
First 2 marriages were real quick and done within 6 months. Um, but yeah, we're like programmed to have to be this certain way and be these certain people, and it's crazy to me because it's a do as I say, not as I do world.
Right.
And that doesn't that just drive you crazy? Um,
They could not handle me, and I could not handle being oppressed.
right.
So,
And
okay, free, and we want not have any more of that,
yeah, yeah, no,
It
yeah.
just,
I mean, I believe that you compromise. Relationship is all about compromising. But
yeah,
I'm not. I'm not going to compromise myself to the point where I'm being abused.
yeah, there's a difference,
Yes.
and it was always either being abused or they were using me for something that, you don't need. You don't have to have that. Get yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The worst line in any movie ever was in one with Tom Cruise, and he says, "You complete me.
Yeah,
This is my reason
please.
for wanting you because you complete me. Like you're not a whole person already, then I don't want you."
You have to keep putting stuff, filling that hole of yours,
Yeah.
you know?
But what creates that hole? I mean, because really, like I said, we are programmed that this is what we're supposed to do. But why isn't it? It's a fairy tale that we're told it's supposed to be because we're supposed to have that Prince Charming that takes care of us, that's the head of the household, that does is honor and and not obey, honor and treat us with respect. That's what we've lost that, and and I can't, and everyone keeps just coming back to, well, people are just criminal, and people are crazy, and people are evil. And I'm like, wait a minute. Have you ever seen an innocent baby born? I mean, they are not born evil. We are programmed. We are
That's right.
brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
We are taught hate. Hate is not even in a vocabulary until someone tells you or shows you, expresses to you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, how is it? Where do we find that? Where did it come from? How do we move past it? Because I tell you, there's some crazy crap going on, and I am not responsible for all the satanic evil crap that's going. And that's what this world would have you believe. That we created it. You created what you're living. Better deal with it. Well, how do I deal with it? If I created it, then I should be able to fix it, right? I should be able
Mm-hmm.
to come up out of it. I can't stop the world from revolving, and it doesn't revolve around me.
It is.
you know, it's going at lightning speed, and I'm trying to catch up.
I,
I'm
I
like,
spent much of my time sitting back from the whirl and just watching it spin.
yes,
Because and I know you do too. Because you have to, you go crazy.
yeah,
You just go. You
because it's
just
out of
sit back.
control.
But I've noticed one thing in my growing up. I have, and that's kind of like just being a witness. I have done that a lot in my life, even when I was a kid,
Yes,
and I didn't know what I was doing. I just was witnessing. Even I remember when I was 3 years old, and the only reason I know I was 3 years old because I asked my mother about the incident much
right.
later. I was grown up,
hmm
and I said, "How old was I then?" Because I know I was really little, and she said, "You were 3."
When what
And
happened?
I was, and this is the first time I saw and had a memory of what I thought was something wrong with this world. And my mother and me were walking down the streets in Alabama, where I'm from, and we didn't go to town much.
hmm
We were rural people. But
hmm
we were walking down the street, and I was holding her hand, and there's nobody on the sidewalk except this old black man, maybe 20 feet from me. And he had this, I'll never forget him. He had this fedora hat on and this casual suit. But I thought, oh, I want to talk to him because I was a talker.
Sure.
Man, I was. And I couldn't wait for him to get up to me. We'd meet
Oh,
each other. Well, next thing I know, he goes off the sidewalk and walks down the street and then comes back up behind us. And I was innocent. I didn't know why he did that. And so I asked my mother, and I don't remember what she said, but I do remember that it was not the right answer.
yeah.
And I didn't ask
Because
her
there is
again.
no good answer for what
There is
just happened.
right. There
Yeah.
was no good answer, and I was so upset.
hmm
And even though I was upset, even though I didn't understand that it was
Sure.
a prejudice thing, I didn't
Yeah.
understand that.
You
But I knew something
understood.
was wrong.
You
I
understood
felt like,
intuitively because we're born
yeah,
with that.
ever since then, I've called this thing when that happens a glitch. I
hmm
feel a glitch in me. That's
hmm
what,
Yeah.
because when I don't understand why or what it's about, it's a glitch
It is. It's a
until I
glitch in the
figure it out.
matrix. It's a glitch
Yeah,
in the matrix because somebody changed something. Because when with any software, and the only thing I can bring to an example because most people understand that language today, but with any software, it's a programming. You have to program that software, and if that software begins to, you know, start going off of this way because of maybe one little algorithm you put in here, maybe one little keyword over here, and it starts to go over there, and then it starts to really just take control, and then that narrative takes on a life of its own, and it's all like a digital. People think we live in this matrix, that we live in this hologram, because we can relay it to what is happening, technology wise,
yeah,
and so programs go rogue depending on keywords, algorithms, and bots that are in place. Like something might be starting off innocent, like Facebook might start
yeah,
off
yeah.
innocent. It's just a way for college kids to, stay in communication and create innocent, but then it's, taken off again by whatever algorithm bot is in place by the programmer. There's always a programmer.
Mhm.
Nothing operates without somebody first thinking about it, doing, and nothing just appears. We're not magical like that yet. Only Trump apparently has that magic wand. we're, we ain't there yet, and there's a reason we're not there yet. Because we have been oppressed and suppressed, and because every time you have an experience that you know within you is wrong, and then somebody tells you you're wrong for thinking it's wrong, that's
That's right.
oppression. You're being suppressed now, because you know what you just experienced ain't right. It doesn't feel right, didn't look right. The same
Mm-hmm.
thing. And so what I'm trying to get to is we get to this point though where we got to look at the root. Who started this? It wasn't some evil person that is born innocent and can only be taught things, except for those, intuitive traits that we receive as a gift of being the human beings that we are. But so who started it? There's always that root. We want to say that there's a higher source in God. We want to believe wholeheartedly. So most of us, there are atheists, and again, I think that atheists even believe in God, because how can you not believe in something that you deny in the first place exists? You have to have knowledge and acceptance that it even existed in the first place to deny it. you
Well,
know?
I think all that's going to come together. That, like you said, science
Yeah.
and God. I didn't say science and religion,
No.
science and God.
Yeah.
And then I think the atheists are going to see, and the religious people, they're more hardcore. It's going to hard for them to jump.
but why is that? It's because they're programmed.
Right,
There's an
exactly.
original programmer that started, we can all see, we can look around the world, throughout culture, throughout history, and each generation, each period of time has their own stories. Well, some of these stories are pretty similar. We've
Yeah,
got the flood, that's similar. We've got the virgin birth, that's a similarity. We've got the Jesus figure come in and walk in. And this is where things get really distorted and screwed up, because people are like, well, Jesus was the Son of God, and God sent his Son to crucify him. So that, no, God crucified himself. We make self sacrifices every day. God came to
that's right.
show us that this is who I am. And Jesus isn't even his real name. Again, programming, mistranslation.
Uh,
Let's bring it down.
Jesus is a Greek. I mean, a
Uh,
Greek name. It's not even Jewish.
no, it was translated because the original text and things were in Arabic or some kind
It,
of ancient, uh,
yeah, had
or,
just had
or
Jeshua or something
Vedic. Yeah,
on it.
yeah. We don't even pray to the right God. Uh,
Yeah, and what else? And this is a big one, and it's starting up, coming up. There's been people that known it for a long time, but just didn't get out there when the time. But all of that is written in the stars, every bit of it, and
Astrology. Yeah.
astrology and science, because science, not all science is good. It's not the science; it's the people behind certain
Programming.
elements of science
Hmm.
have pushed astrology down as being pseudo, and that is not the truth. That's the thing that's been there for thousands, well, from the beginning.
Well, here's where
Before
we
we,
can bring in double narrative into this now, because you just said they've classified it as pseudo. They've classified it, at the same time they use it.
right, exactly,
Gematry, numerology, all these things are part of astrology.
right.
Everything that you can, all those other pseudosciences.
And
Um,
I'm not talking about getting your fortune for the next day. What you're going to be like.
no,
That's part of it. But that's so little.
that's
That
very
is so
little.
little.
I mean, these people that are billionaires use this to know when
Yeah,
to make, what and when
exactly.
it's just like the other day I had the thought, oh my god, here it is, the 13th. The 13th, it doesn't matter in whatever month. The 13th is a big occult number. And so things happen in between the 13th and the 19th every month. So if you look at it, just look back. It doesn't happen on the first.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen on third. It happens right there in those key numbers. And then as far as even when Jesus was born, we can take our stories back to the same things happened. They've mistranslated the date, the time. Because again, for all the descriptions in the Bible, none of them fit the winter months.
Right.
I'm sorry, they don't.
Yeah.
But so they've mistranslated the dates. So again, they've taken that astrology, that numerology, and infiltrated it and created this story out of it that has now, for the last over 2,000 years, repeated itself over.
Right.
Because now we can. A lot of people today want to say that they compare themselves to Jesus. Because they're activists and they're standing up against the tyranny. They're standing up against the money makers. They're standing up against these
Mm-hmm.
oppressors that are really just the front men for who's running the show and just creating the programming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even with Isaac Happy. I don't know, and God rest his soul. Like I can't. I thought it was. I thought it was fake news when I heard.
I do it. I did too.
I mean, for those of you that don't know Isaac Happy, look, you can't even hardly look him up anymore. His Wikipedia is taken down. All of his social media pages have been taken down, removed. So there's nothing other than some videos that are circulating, between people who've downloaded it and still apply it, post it rather to social medias. I watched the last video that he did, and oh my God, he was not his normal self. He'd gone
No.
through whatever he did, but again, he was going up against the man. He was going up against the machine. He's going up against the satanics. He's going up against the pedophiles. He's going up against the Hollywood elite. He's going up against all these side effects that have been created from the original programmer.
Right.
And now
Right.
they're saying he committed suicide. This is how the programming works. His name is
Right.
Seth Rich. Okay, his name because they say that he was just randomly mugged. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but then there's stories that he didn't die on the street. He died in the hospital later. His wounds would have been sustained had he not been
Right.
taken
And
out
then
further.
he was not robbed. He
No, he
had.
was not robbed. He had everything:
Um, and,
money, wallet, watch.
yeah.
I mean, cell phone.
Why
Um,
do you why do you mug somebody unless there is no reason to mug somebody unless you want them dead
yeah,
or you want their money.
yeah,
You know, and
right.
that's it.
Right, but so since those narratives started, look how many stories have come from it. But and they don't want you to look at though who Seth Rich was. They don't want you to. They're not going to want you to look at who Isaac
Right.
Happy was.
Right.
I mean, even though from what I gather for about Isaac Happy, he had apparently doxed a few of the people over on the Chans to for money. Or drugs. He had, whatever. That's what their story is. And I'm
Mm.
sorry. I know a lot of people have drug issues, but they don't get on the social media every week and make Instagram and talk to the people and always say group hug. From his videos. That was always one thing that he needed. Was that, and then he wants to say he didn't confront the darkness, but if he hadn't confronted the darkness within him, he wouldn't have wanted that group hug.
Right. Right.
But he was confronting everything he did, and I mean all these other stories about Paris Hilton. I mean that's their headline. Again, they're trying to control the narrative of what might have possibly actually happened. By bringing up something that was found to be false in the first place. I mean, it was just, again, Paris even, come out and said some stuff about how it was not what media portrayed. They always try to control that narrative. They've been doing it for thousands of years. It's not new.
Right.
it's
And why do they take everything off about him?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't they want you to know? They unpersoned him, just like they're banning Laura Loomer. They're, banning Alex Jones and Infowars. They're,
Yeah.
taking away all this supposed free speech stuff by saying that now you're hate speech. You can't even talk about the Islam. I can't even say that. I can't even say the IS word that I want to say because, you'll get flagged. Um,
That's right.
it's ridiculous. While at the same time, people like, recruiters, we'll call them, are allowed to operate on these social media platforms without fear of being shadow banned or removed. I mean, they're getting so bad at it. I don't know if you know who AOC Cortez Congresswoman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's these parody channels that have popped up about her. And so they've been getting banned. These parody channels. They
Wow.
they actually, their bots are so out of control. They actually banned the original AOC Congresswoman's page. They can't tell the difference. Uh,
That,
Anyway, this is again the programming. People don't understand. They think they're on the computer and somebody is sitting there monitoring all these videos. They think that somebody is sitting there censoring. But no, that for those that know, there are those that know that are techies. That these are algorithms. These are bots in place to catch and keywords that are being said and typed in and voice. So they're able to track and catch these keywords supposedly, but that's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing. They're not doing that to catch these, to eliminate the hate. They're doing this to eliminate the people that are speaking out against the hate that's being committed.
That's
So,
right.
what did they do to Jesus? They
Yeah,
eliminated the source that was speaking out against the. So this is what is
absolutely.
continuing. This is Isaac Cappy. I don't believe Isaac. I I hesitate to say, but because I really, I just intuitionally, I am just going all my spidey senses, as they are called, are just going off on this one. Like, oh, no, that's what you call suicided.
Yeah, I think you know I'm being when you try to be yourself, you have to also accept sometimes being wrong. So I can be wrong,
Yeah.
and that's okay, you
Mm.
know. But I think that Isaac Happy really did know a lot, and there was part of him that wanted out, and he couldn't do it. And the further he got along, the more crushing it became. And if he did that doxing, I don't know. I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but that there's that other part of him also from HollyWeird who oppresses, and he's just like a small child, and they're trying to get out, and he didn't make it. You know, he just didn't make it.
Yeah. It's just sad, but and it all just brings me back to it's the programming. Because I'm sorry, even doxing someone, yeah, it's horrible what you did, But again, it's not worth killing yourself. It's not worth taking yourself out of the picture. I mean,
Exactly.
what did you really do? Yeah, like you're saying, he's in that Hollyweird. And even people are like, well, why is Robert Downey Jr., still alive? Well, no, he's probably complicit. I
Oh yeah,
understood that while he may not have been involved, he was bringing people in. That's what they
yeah.
do. You're either involved or you're a recruiter.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what people need to understand that this whole system that we're on, it's not that we live in a matrix. It's not that we live in a hologram. It's that they want you to think that you do. They want to distract you with all these things, because they don't want you to know the satanic, evil, ritualistic things they're doing behind because of their serving their God. And again, we can see this in so many different stories of our past. Where people gave in to their sky brothers, there are these star beings that came in and gave them this technology, but at the same time, they wanted
What?
they wanted these sacrifices from
Yeah.
you, right?
Right.
That's where we get to the programming. It's like we are set up to believe that we are here to serve just them. That all these things are built up, as in a programming. Again, I go back to that. My mind just
It's a
wants to keep going. Yeah, it's somebody originally started this. This
They
didn't,
started, and it went on, going along until it became kings and queens and the serfs.
yeah,
And it kept going and going until it became kings, queens, serfs, and those that died because they were poor and nobody gives a shit.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, it,
I mean,
and
people
that's
are.
normal,
No,
and that's supposed to be normal.
that's what they're normalizing. They're trying to
Yeah,
also normalize pedophilia. They're trying
yeah.
to. There's a congressman or someone who's running for a legislation position in Florida who's a convicted pedophile. But he got out, and Florida passed a law allowing people who are in prison that get out of prison for non-violent crimes, they call them. They allow them to vote and run for public office.
I
Okay.
consider that crime violent.
Hello. It is the most violent abuse. It can go on for years
Yes,
before you grow up and they don't no longer want you because you're an adult now.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's again all set up because I know my whole life I've seen this world the stuff that was happening around me, just going, what the did I get into? What the frick is happening here? Because this is wrong. This is backwards. This is
That's
not,
right.
and I would even say, this is not how I'm going to treat my children. You know,
That's right.
if I make it out of this alive, Mom, this is not because I was abused. Abused, used, and just toyed with my whole life, and not just from my abusers that physically, sexually abused me and mentally abused me, but from the other side as well, being tortured. Seeing all kinds of scenes of dead people, and I mean, back from way back, because I lived on an army base even, and I would see all kinds of, military, military scenarios. But it would take me all the way back to Indian and cowboy times, when that actual land became a fortress of defense, which was way before it became a military installated. It was already used back in the day. It was one of the forts,
Right.
hidden, secret, used by the Indians at the time, even. And so it was like all this stuff has happened there, right? And so
All
here,
the site was built up and concreted.
oh yeah. And a lot of it's underground. You don't even see the military installation that it has become because it's underground. Because it's up in the mountains. It's got plenty of depth to go down. So I mean, but that's where I started seeing all kinds of things that now I have to question: was it holographic? Because I was in a secure, secret military facility when I started witnessing all this stuff. And they were, if you look them up now, it's Fort Huachuca, Arizona. It became publicly known in 1975. And I was there from 1968 to 1972. And so and I didn't know it was, again, I was born into the military. I didn't understand anything other than what I was told, and that is to ignore everything and shut the frick up. Don't speak unless you're spoken to. Everything's on a need to know basis, and you don't need to know. That's the kind of my dad would say it's classified. He was a petty officer, in the army, so everything was classified to him. He wouldn't talk about anything his whole life. He would never tell you what he did in the military. He would only tell you how his helicopter operated. But so, what kind of programming did he go through? What kind of programming did I go through on that base? My whole family. Who knows? And oh my God, the chaos that ensued um, from that moment on in my life has just been still to going on to this day. Only now I can see the matrix a little better, so I
Mm,
can keep those things and elements out of my force field that's around my property.
mhm.
No matter where I live, no matter where I'm at, I can only do it so many places though because I still have experiences like when I go to hotels. But so I'm just like all this stuff is programmed. It's none of it's real. All of the basis for everything I've experienced can be relayed back to some test, some experiment, some military operation. So that's my lingo. I didn't start calling it ghost UFO. I didn't know. I was just telling you what would happen, and I got told I would speak what happened, and I would get told it didn't happen. I would get told I had an overactive imagination. I would be stifled. I would be told to shut up. I would, no, oh, here we go. Here's a story,
Oh, I got that.
you
Mm,
know? And so that's how we're programmed into believing what we're seeing is not real. So
mhm.
that's why now most people, don't even want to believe their own physical proof around them. We're lied from birth to believe this, believe that. Come on, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, the whole, you know. I had a real issue raising my kids with the men that I was with because they wanted to continue those traditions, and oh my God, I every year made sure to make sure the kids understood that we're not doing this because it's Christmas time and Santa Claus is going to bring you some gifts. This is why we celebrate this time. And so I would teach them about God, and, Jesus and everything. But so that's always been kept in my mind. No matter what I would see, no matter what I was going through, here's God over here going, it's okay. I got you. You know, you're my
Right.
daughter. I'm going to take care of you.
That's
This and
right.
this and this. It doesn't mean I'm not going to go through my stuff. It means I'm going to be okay at the end of it. I'm going to survive. If that's what you That's what you want to call. But I have, and I'm able to talk about it today because I didn't suppress it. I don't oppress other people. I let you be who you are. I don't want to change nothing about you. I think that everybody has something to offer. We're all a piece of that puzzle. We just have to get past and beyond what we're programmed to see and think. because we are literally programmed not to see this world that is happening right beside us. Yeah,
Yep.
again, because most of us have experiences when we're little, but we're told, no, you didn't. No,
Yeah.
that's not real. Even though they themselves might have had experiences. No,
Hmm.
that's not real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was my family.
yeah, it's
I I
everybody's.
didn't know that they had had experiences at the same and they were telling me that it was my imagination, but it was later when I grew up that I found that they had experiences. So it was all a religious block to stop it, to stop any, try to stop me from seeing things and hearing things. And they would continue on this religious thing because that's how
Yes.
I mean, they tried to stop all their stuff. They didn't want to see anymore. They didn't want to hear anymore and go the straight and narrow way. And
That's
I know they did it because they honestly believed it.
Yes, they're programmed. That's part.
You know,
Religion is part of the program to distract us from our spirituality.
but and when they told me that what I was seeing was demons, that was
Yes.
the that did it for me.
Yeah.
You know, I
Exactly. You don't want to be scared. I still talk, I
didn't know.
talk to adults today that are so
Yeah,
afraid of what they
yeah,
might see if they even attempt to look. They're
yeah.
oh no, they're fear motivated. I'm so not fear motivated. I'm so not fear. I don't. I've seen so much crap and experienced and lived through so much violent and horrific crimes against me. That you're not going to tell me that what I just saw, like with even seeing UFOs. Again, you and I have both had experiences
Yeah.
with UFOs. We know what we saw, you
Yeah, I
know,
know what I saw.
and I
I
don't
looked
have
at newspaper for 2 days, a newspaper search, and
right.
didn't a whole lot of people, but a few people who I thought I could trust, and I would ask them in a kind of like, not like I saw it, but I heard, they didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it. They don't. I mean, I have had conversations with people from all walks of life. I mean, because I'm a plethora of useless information, but so I can carry on conversations. And
Yeah,
it just amazes me that they're all like, "Oh, that's so right on. You're talking right. I believe. Oh God." And then I say, have you ever seen a UFO? Have you ever experienced an
they
alien?
go,
Ooh, then
ooh,
yeah, the whole energy just changes.
yeah,
All of a sudden, I'm some crazy person who has
yeah,
tumors going in beyond my eyes, so that I'm seeing things. You know, no, I'm sorry
no,
you didn't see it. And I'm grateful that I have a witness to a lot of the stuff that I have seen. My sister, I believe, we agreed to come down here together, to be that enforcement for each other, so that we're not so shocked and dismayed every time we realize what we've seen or what we've been told is not real. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing. I'm like, it's sad, really. I'm like, I guess the only thing that surprises me is my son. He can surprise me. He'll buy me things that I can't connect to. I can't tap into what'd you get me. So that's the only surprises I get. But uh, anyway, I'm just saying I've seen so much and experienced so much that I'm just like I had to have someone come in here with me, so that I would have a witness to some of the stuff, so that nobody can say that, oh well, you're just making that up, even though it's my sister. People are, oh well, she's your sister, she'll no, I've got it too. I've got other sisters that don't see nothing, and dismay and deny me, call me the devil's spawn. I'm the demon. Because I believe I can talk to the dead, because I believe I've seen UFOs, because I believe I've experienced some horrific stuff, that's wrong, and I speak out against it. I've always been someone who speaks out. I've never experienced anything and just shut up about it.
that's right.
I'm still
You
talking
know,
about the UFOs I saw in 2016, 2017. I can't, because I can't. Once you have that
you
embedded,
can't.
I can't go, oh, that didn't happen? Oh, you're right. Oh, let me just turn that off then, because if that didn't happen, can it please stop replaying in my
Right, right.
head? you know?
The most profound one I saw, it was at least as big as a football field, at least.
Mine were bigger.
at least.
Yeah.
And that's just an estimate because it was above my
Yes.
car, kitty cornered.
Yeah.
Just
You have to take so
trees
many
that
things into
fall.
account. Yeah. Yeah.
Tree
Yeah.
effing level.
Yeah.
Why me? I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, trying to be rational when I'm there all by myself. I'm thinking, yeah, why you? And I thought, yeah, don't you get out of that car. Because I always thought, if this ever happened to me, I just get out of the car and look at it. And I
Right.
thought, right, no, I did not get out of that car. I did turn my car off because I was starting to feel scientific about it because I'm very nerdy sometimes.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll turn the car off because I want to know if it makes sound.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No sound, but still right there.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I've heard, and now I can't even remember where I heard that if I turn my head and turn back, it'd be gone.
Mm-hmm.
I did that, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided not to do that for a while in
Right.
case it did
You want to
disappear.
watch it? I wished I
I,
had a camera that would work and I could take a picture.
I know.
Yeah, I've always tried. No, never works. Never works for me to take a picture. But yeah, you have those experiences and you're afraid to talk about it. Isn't that crazy? We're more afraid to talk about what we experienced than what we experienced. Because I've gotten bad feelings off of the UFOs that I've seen, but I've also had really good feelings. And felt like they're here. They're here to help. They're here to assist. They're here to be of service, like I am. I got that, but
Mm.
then I got that other feeling where, ooh, I've either felt that they were ancient and they are not kind, or they're AI. I've seen like the black cube that people see. I feel like every time I see the black cube, I get the impression of the Borg. you know,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
it's all
Well,
completely AI. There's nothing human about that cube. But then you see the V-shaped craft. Well, those are human. That feels those feel like ours. That's not again. I've seen UFOs since I was a little girl living on that base. That was where I saw my first UFO. It was on Fort Huachuca, coming out of a hangar, and then taking off. Shoop.
the main one I saw, because the others I'm kind of like, but this was so profound. There's no doubt. It was what the typical saucer shape, and it had lights down the middle, and they were different colored lights.
Hmm.
And I mean, I would never even thought how a saucer or a UFO would look, before I saw one, except I knew some of them were saucer shaped. But I didn't even think about stuff like that. UFO was not even on my radar.
Yeah, you're
It was
programmed not
like,
to.
yeah, right. I was programmed not to,
Hmm.
and I was kind of like, since I already had seen and talked to many, many spirits, I at least with my thinking on UFO, it was like, well, it's possible, but you
Right.
know.
No, we dismiss it. We're programmed to
Yeah,
dismiss what
right.
we are even experiencing in that moment. We're taught, no, no, don't even look at that. That's not. I mean, from everything from seeing UFOs to seeing ghosts, and
Mm-hmm.
or just having that shadow of a thing fly that you see out of your peripheral vision, because we have more sight in our peripheral line than we do straight on. Straight on, we're
Yeah.
programmed to see faces. We're programmed to see, make out objects, or we would walk into everything. But our peripheral vision, that's a different sight. People need to tap in. They talk about this third eye. Well, let's talk about your peripheral,
Yeah.
because that is where you're seeing things physically. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have said that they see it out of the corner of their eye and they turn
It's gone.
and it's
Mhm.
gone. But it's not gone. They've just changed their
Right. Right.
sight.
Exactly.
I mean, but they don't even realize that, because again, whoever made this body knew what the frick they were doing. It's so it's just so mind-boggling when you think about how your body actually operates, and why things are where they are. And if they weren't there, it wouldn't. The whole thing. Everyone's like, which part of the body operates? It all works together. There is not one boss. It's all teamwork.
That's right.
The one boss is our God, our Creator. After that, it's all right here. It's all like embedded in us. And people talk about the DNA strand.
Mm-hmm.
12 strands, the 12 astrological signs. And now that science has figured out that there's actually 13 strand, then they take this and want to change all the astrological to include this 13th sign, right? I mean, a few years ago they started talking, trying to, reprogram us into now this 13 instead of it being 12. Again, we were taken off of certain things. The storyline was, certain things were taken out of the story so that you didn't, like they wanted to take away the astrology. They don't want you to follow astrology, but they
Right.
they do. I mean, it was common knowledge. Several of our presidents in the White House had astrologists. There's books about them.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
yeah. There's,
And the 12 spinal nerves, those are hugely important.
you know,
Huge.
people have, but they're not taught that. They're told that that's just say. We're told that everything that we believe in is pretty much of the devil. Everything
Yeah.
that you and I believe in, because we believe that we're spiritual beings here having a physical human experience, we came in with the abilities and gifts and discernment, things that God told us, this is our connection, this is where we talk.
Hmm.
So, but when we get in down here, the storyline, just wants to keep you into this false narrative. That's why today the words, the fake news, projection, predictive programming. These aren't words that just came out of nowhere. These are words that, because this is the stuff our history has shown us over and over and over again that we've experienced. Do you watch the Game of Thrones? I got to throw that in there real quick, just because.
Oh, I had watched a few episodes, but that's been like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's
But
it's the eighth season is what, and there was a couple year gap between seven and eight because there was that seven was supposed to be it. But my point of this is that you can look at that show if you go all the way back, season one. They start the first show shows you the Night Walkers. They show you the demons that one of the guys that lives out in the forest sacrifices every male born child to these dark, and you never see them again throughout the whole show. It turns into these, the Walking Dead. Okay, they're dead, but they're brought back to life by this, the Night King.
hmm.
Okay, and then the whole thing is just about how the night just wants to come over and take over anything good, everything. It doesn't matter. We're here. We're gonna take it. We're living it. It's been happening. And of course, they put it in entertainment so that people won't do it. They even had Obama on the Jimmy Kimmel show back when he was president talking about UFOs, giving us disclosure in an entertainment way, in an entertaining way rather, because he made you laugh about it. At
Right.
the same time, letting you know, if you want to go after that information, you're not going to become president. If you want to go after that information, you're going to get told it doesn't exist. We are
Mm.
told to say it doesn't exist.
Right.
I mean, so it's all part of, again, we can come back and say, well, throughout history, all these things, and entertainment shows you all these things, and, they put it out there because, again, it's part of their programming to infiltrate you in every way. They're in everything. If you were to read that Orwellian book that was written back about how to, not 19, how to take over a society, everything is listed in those things in that book back from whenever hundreds of years ago is happening today.
Yeah. It's amazing,
Yeah,
all the things there. I mean, the media, everything is written down. Everything.
everything,
The
everything. The
propaganda,
food, you take care of
education,
every
food, all of
everything,
it.
all of
Everything
it,
they do is written
every
from
every
a very long time ago.
yes, because this has been the plan. This has been the thing that's just been played out over and over for thousands of years. Thousands. It's mind-boggling when you think about how, because you think 100, you think a year goes like this, right? Well, just imagine 100,000 years, 200,000 years, just going like that. And repeating the same thing over and over again. Resetting. They have the ability to reset. If they wanted to, they just push that button and reset. Boom, everybody forgets. It's true. I mean, the energy that they connect to us with is energetically put out and attached to our brainwave. People are wondering how it is, going to be that, we are interfaced with computers, right? And Elon Musk has even come out and they're talking about this neuro brain wave that he's going to have implanted so that right here he can just see the internet. He can call things up. He's connecting to it with just his thoughts. He doesn't have to speak it. He just has to
Mm-hmm.
think what he wants to look up and boom, boom. They already do it. You don't have to have that implanted. Everybody talks about, getting these chips. You don't need a chip because they track you in your phone, your internet. They know they're listening to right now. They watch. I mean, I cover my camera when I'm not using my camera on my
I do too, and
computer.
sometimes I forget, and
I have a band-aid over it all the time.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
want it
do too.
covered because they can watch. The smartphones today, I will not have I mean, not smartphone, a smart TV.
Yeah,
That can take all these apps. I won't do it. I won't have a television that has a camera in it. Because
right.
they can look at you at any time. They don't need to chip you. They don't need, to lay all this neuro things to your in implanted in your brain so that you can connect to it. They already are connected. That's why you can have a thought about something and you'll see ads for it. You just go look at
Mhm.
a site and then that's all you're going to see on your social media is ads for that site you just visited. Like it or not, whether you whether you liked what you were looking at or not, you're going to see ads for it constantly now until you go look at
Yeah,
something else. They're constantly tracking us. We don't need to
yeah.
wait for
Um,
5G. We don't need to. Face recognition is already happening. It's happening already on the computer. It happens
I
in
go on
different
Amazon
states.
and look at curtains, and the next thing I know, there are curtains everywhere on my screen, and I'm not on Amazon anymore.
No, no, you're no because again, you don't read the fine print of every little thing that we're doing and how they are controlling it, and they don't tell you. They're not going to tell you. I mean, all this stuff that's coming out now about Google and Facebook and Twitter and about their censorship and how they're really working for military programs. It all brings us back to CIA operatives. What is a CIA asset? Do people even know what that phrase means? Again,
Mm.
military thinking in my mind, when I hear CIA asset, anyone can be a CIA. I mean,
Yeah,
from your
yeah,
lawn person to your CEO
right.
can be a CIA asset. And it's not a CIA, FBI is homeland stuff, right? CIA is international. So again,
Hmm.
it's not just about what they're doing here. It's about what's happening all around the globe with all the deep people in
If
control.
you're being used by the CIA, it doesn't mean that you have to even know about it or you got a job with them. You're just being used. Therefore, you are an asset
Yeah.
to the CIA.
Yeah. Because then there's the known operatives. When you know you're an asset, you're no longer you're a known operative.
Right.
As that it does change, but they can. I mean, again, the programming is such to keep you from realizing just how deep they are into your life and how much they do control every aspect of your life. And they record your brain waves at birth. They've been doing that for over 75 years now, I believe my dates. 75 years now, they've already been recording brain waves at birth, anytime we're
Heard that.
born. Yeah, military. A lot of this stuff. I mean, you create anything good for the betterment of mankind. The civilization around you is not going to hear about it because it's going to be taken by our operative or our government, our CIA, our intelligent agencies, everybody who's involved to suppress and keep down and take that in. But they can take certain things like they did with Tesla and turn it into weapons. Everything they do gets weaponized. From the war on drugs, uh, everything they do gets weaponized.
Yeah.
They can.
I don't think there ever was a war on drugs. Never was. Never
No,
is.
no,
Uh,
it was a CIA operation. Because guess what
mhm.
happened when they began the war on drugs on the American citizens? They actually took over the black market.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Now,
was our war on drugs.
where do you think that a lot of the money that comes for these secret operations come? We don't give enough in taxes as American taxpayers to our government to run all of these and people don't even know they're secret operations. They think it's all on the up and up.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
that's not the programming. It's not.
But
It is not. There's stuff going on that you don't. Like I said, I lived on a secret military base. I had no idea it was a secret military base. Wasn't my first one. I was born in the military to my father and mother when my dad was stationed in Germany. I was actually born in Germany. To my military parents, and so from birth to 12 years old, I lived on bases. Or was involved in the military. But so I was always, and grew up with that thought that there is so much happening nobody talks about because it's on a need to know. It is classified. And then weaponized even that. Now they classify things that are embarrassing. Sorry,
Right.
national
Right.
security does not cover your assets of embarrassment.
Mhm.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. But yeah, but that's the programming. That's where we're at. I mean, Brennan himself, your CIA leader, came out and said, you know, we lie. We're trained. Pompeo has come out and said, I was CIA. We lie. We are trained. So it's all even our military people are all part of the programming. So that's again that's my lingo. That's my world that I relate to quick. So when I start hearing things like movement headed southeast, boots on the ground. All these things start, they click up that glitch,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
some about to
But
do. Well, that's what I've been hearing now lately. You know, um, things are on the move. There's military pileup. There's electrical companies that are backing up all kinds of generators and wire, all these things that are needed to run electricity when your shit goes down.
mhm.
They're all
Mm.
building up. And military, all kinds of the last 2 weeks, my son and I we're geeked. We get geeked out when we see military jets or helicopters. We just we get geeked out. No matter if we're driving down the road, we're all trying to look at it. We get geeked. So he let me know the last couple of weeks, almost every other day, there's groups of Hueys headed east. Okay, because and again, we live in Texas. It's more south and closer to like Galveston. I'm just a couple hours from Galveston, and so all these military installations though are along the coast, and I mean from Texas to Florida. There's you can look it up, but there are so many. Okay, there's secret ones too, but you can look it up how many military installations there are, and they're all gearing towards the east. So something is about to happen. Again, all these tensions, but people need to realize if they aren't telling you about it, but you seeing all this military movement, they're not, you're never going to get the whole story because they're programmed to only give you what you need to know, and they don't think you need to know anything.
Right.
I mean, even Trump speaks in code. He's not
Yes.
military, but he's backed by his biggest ally that is back behind him in D.C. is military.